Hi, I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Courtney, and this is Caffeinated Crimes, Technology Issues Edition.
Took a few tries here to get started. We had some headphone, microphone, little mishaps, and my voice just cracked. And we're also doing a double recording tonight, which by the end
Mhm.
of will be four recordings in 5 days. So we are, whew, it's been
Yeah,
a week. It has been a
it's been
week.
a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
But we're
Also,
here.
yes, we are here. We are ready to go. I'm drinking a lovely beverage, which, as you can see, the top of this pretty purple can, I thought this was a blackberry cider. So I get it out of the refrigerator and I put it in my little koozie and I sit down, I open it and I take a big drink, and it's an IPA. And
Ugh.
I do not like IPAs, but I've already opened it and it's the only drink I brought in here, so I'm gonna drink it anyway. So
Oh, no, I'd
just
have to get a different one. I can't drink that.
it's
Those hurt
not
my
great.
hurt my stomach.
It's not great, but I'm gonna suffer through it and it'll be fine. It's cheers.
In the iconic words of my mother, I'm not wasting my calories on that.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth, but it's not fantastic. But it'll be okay. Um
Mhm.
Also, speaking of putting things in mouths, I thought of
I'm
this
scared.
question. I thought of this question the other day that I wanted to pose to you and the rest of the podcast world. Do you brush your teeth in the shower? Or have you ever?
I personally have not, but I understand it and respect it for people who do.
Okay.
I love the efficiency of it. I love the
Yes.
idea of how quick it is. Um, but I also don't really bring my toothbrush into my shower.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So I typically don't, just because usually at the time that I shower, I'm not also brushing my teeth. I usually shower like mid-morning because I like take my lunch break like 10, 11-ish, workout, and then shower after. So like I've already brushed my teeth at that point. But when I take a nighttime shower, I will usually brush my teeth in the shower then, because the way I look at it, I'm saving time because I know I'm going to stay in there for at least 2 to 3 minutes doing nothing in the shower anyway. So I might as well brush my teeth while I'm standing there under the hot water?
Hmm.
So yeah, but I just wanted to know other people's. I feel like it can be a controversial topic. Like some people have strong opinions about it. So, I just wanted to pose that question.
Yeah, I just know myself and I'd somehow end up brushing my teeth with body wash or something. So, um, I'd also just like to say before this recording started, which I wish we had started it when I asked Jacqueline a question and she gave me the look like you're the dumbest person I've ever met. And then she comes on here asking if you brush your teeth in the shower. My question was, we call it like a Native American reservation. That's what that land is called. Why do we also like make a reservation at a restaurant or a hotel or anywhere else? That was my question. And I got looked at like I was dumb. And then she comes on here, do y'all brush your teeth in the shower?
I just want to say I was not prepared for that question because, like I said, I've answered many a question today from my 2-year-old, and then Courtney coming out here spouting the questions, and I'm like, my brain is like all the only the complexity of the type of question I can answer right now is, do you brush your teeth in the shower? I don't have the mental capacity to answer why the English language is the way it is and why. But
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a Google, but I don't know if that's going to take a while
It'll
to
probably
come to
take
that
a while. So
conclusion.
that's just gonna have to be something that someone writes us in because I'll forget about it
Yes.
in approximately 2 minutes. But we can do a poll the day this comes out. I'll make a note to myself of do you brush your teeth in the shower? Because I don't know. Like, do a lot of people do that?
I don't know. Like I feel like
I feel
when
like
I say
most people
controversial,
don't, but
I feel like I've heard it like in like TVs and movies as people being like, "Oh, that's a weird thing. Why would you do that?" But I also
I
don't
feel
know
like
if
it's more controversial if you wash your legs in the shower. That's like the controversial
I most
question about
definitely
showering.
wash my legs in the shower.
It all runs down, and I shave my legs, so it's fine. No
Maybe
one's
that should
told
be
me
our
I
second
stink
poll.
yet.
Our first poll, do you brush your teeth in
I
the
don't
shower?
know
Our
because
second
that one
poll,
gets
do you...
so controversial. People get so angry about whether you wash your legs in the shower or not.
I
But
mean, because like I wash my legs in the shower, but like I also don't care if you wash your legs in the shower or if you don't wash your legs in the shower. As long as you're showering,
I mean,
good
if they're
enough.
like visibly, like if I put sunscreen on or if I put
Hmm.
something on my legs, but if it's just like I just worked out and it's just kind of like all the water's running down, it's fine. I hate showering too. So
I like showering as long as I'm not washing my hair. If I'm washing my hair, then I'm done. It's the worst.
yeah, I just really do not like to shower at all. I know people love the shower, that's like people's relaxing time.
Yeah.
I hate it. There's so many things. I used to say, like, how have we not gotten to like Jetson society where I can just stand on a conveyor belt? Because like it's like you got to go somewhere. Well, I got to get up early to take a shower, or I got to do it before I go to bed, or I have all this stuff to do and I got to take a shower. Like, why can't I just be clean?
But like that feeling of like when it's been like a long day and you've like physically exerted yourself that day, if you're like doing a bunch of stuff, like you're out and about, you're like outside, you're at the beach, you're those things, and that like shower at the end of the
Well,
night
that's
just
why I work
feels
out so
so
that I
good.
have the desire to shower. Like, I like to shower after I've worked out because I'm gross. But,
Yeah.
like, for example, this week, I showered today, and that's the first time since Tuesday.
But see, if you're not like getting dirty every day, you don't need to
Yeah.
shower every day, you know? So
My husband
I have
showers
not,
every single morning without fail. First thing he does every single morning.
I feel like a lot of people are like that. I am not. I would say I only shower on days that I work out, but I do work out most days. But like today I did not work out, so I did not shower. But also in the summer too, if I'm like outside and it's super hot, I'm wearing sunscreen, bug spray, those things, and I'll definitely shower.
Hmm.
But it's winter, I'm not working out, I'm not showering.
Yeah. I just, I don't like to shower. I don't like to clean the shower. I don't like to be in the shower. I don't know. I like to be clean. That's the thing. I do
Yeah.
shower because that makes me sound
Yeah.
like I'm dirty and I don't shower. I shower very regularly.
Yes,
I
yes.
just don't
I
love
have
it.
never smelled you, so I think that that
Yeah.
means you're fine because we've been friends for quite a long time and have spent quite a lot of time together. So I feel like I would know at this
Yeah.
point if you were a smelly gal.
And that's how I know when we go to our workout class, I'm not the one that stinks because I didn't smell it the other night. But then I was like, I didn't smell it. So that means I'm either it, like I've gotten used to it. But then I was like, I think I would know if it was me,
Yeah, like we would smell it other times outside of that
like
one specific
regularly.
instance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, now that we have gone
Yeah.
on, wow, a
A
whole
really
bunch of
long tangent.
so sorry, guys. Yeah, we don't have any updates because like we said, we literally just recorded 2 days ago. So we're just gonna jump on in and
Yeah, okay. I was
that's all I
waiting.
got.
I was like, you stopped in the middle of a sentence. I didn't want to cut you off, but
No, my brain just shut off and was like,
just yeah.
just powered down until I get to my speaking part. So I'm just going to sit back and drink my shitty IPA.
Enjoy. Okay. So our sources for this week is a Supreme Court Ohio.gov article and a clarkprosecutor.org article. So on September 14th, 1989, 18-year-old college student Leslie Keckler applied for a waitress job at a restaurant in Bowling Green, Ohio. The job application would lead to her brutal murder. So Leslie told her friends and family she was excited about an opportunity for a supply job with the restaurant. She'd have a sales route where she would sell supplies such as towels and aprons to local area restaurants. And on September 26th, Leslie was scheduled to meet someone from the restaurant at the Holiday Inn where she would have a job interview and then take a tour of the sales route that would be part of her job. So Leslie saw her boyfriend right before she left for the interview, and she said she might be gone 2 to 3 hours just because the sales route tour, like, might take a little bit. You don't really know how long it's going to take. However, Leslie never returned home that night. Her family grew worried, and her mother and boyfriend filed a missing persons report with police, and police found her car abandoned at the Woodland Mall. On September 30th, two boys were riding bicycles when they found a woman's body in a rural drainage ditch, and the body was determined to be that of Leslie Keckler. She was still wearing her new black dress and leather jacket she'd bought for the job interview. A clasp on her bra was broken, her belt was unbuckled, two dress buttons were missing, and her pantyhose were torn at the crotch. Her shoe was found nearby, but there was no other evidence for police to collect near her body. Leslie's cause of death was determined to be asphyxia from ligature strangulation and multiple stab wounds. She'd been stabbed 6 times in the back, and 3 of them had penetrated her lungs, and she had a deep cut on her right wrist and bruising all over her face. There were no physical signs of sexual assault, and police knew that Keckler was supposed to be on a job interview for the Bowling Green restaurant she applied at, so that was their first clue. They kind of know who and where she was supposed to be with.
Yeah.
So Keckler's abduction was also eerily similar to the one that had occurred just a few months before. In May, Marla Ritchie had applied for a job at a different restaurant in Bowling Green. She was scheduled to go to a job interview at 8 p.m. at a Holiday Inn a few days earlier, and the man conducting the interview called himself Jeff Bennett and told Marla that he had worked for Great American Food and said he was looking for a local sales representative. He asked her to get into his car so they could review the sales route. They drove for a while and parked, and Bennett told Marla that her dress was too long. So she kind of quickly figured out this was like a fake job interview, and then she just said like she wasn't interested in the job, just as an attempt to like get out of the car. Bennett then asked Marla what she would do if someone pulled a knife on her and asked her for money or asked her to do other things. So Marla jumped out of the car, and Bennett tried to grab her and said to come back and that he wasn't finished with her yet, but Marla was able to get away. Marla immediately went to the police and helped prepare a composite sketch of Jeff Bennett. So police were suspicious that the same person who kidnapped Marla may be responsible for Leslie Keckler's murder, so they circulated the composite sketch of the man calling himself Jeff Bennett. On October 2nd, someone came forward and said the sketch resembled a man named Richard Fox who lived in Tontogany, Ohio. So police were able to confirm that Fox matched the physical description of Jeff Bennett and also drove the same car, which is a pretty good sign so far.
Yeah, pretty good. Wow. Yeah, things are lining up pretty well. Yes, yeah. There we go.
So they secured a search warrant to search the home where Fox lived with his parents that same day. And when police arrived, Fox consented to the search of his home and car. He also agreed to voluntarily go to the police station and waive his Miranda rights to speak to police. Before being arrested, Richard Fox admitted to working at a restaurant in Bowling Green in May and that he met Marla for a drive at the Holiday Inn and discussed the length of her skirt. He also admitted to knowing Leslie and said they had met and talked at the restaurant where he worked when she applied for a job and met again a couple of days later. So the manager of the restaurant let him see her job application, so he had access to her address and phone number. And Fox said they went on a date together on September 26th. He said they drove for a while and then parked and things started, quote, warming up. He said Leslie then changed her mind and called him an asshole and said she wanted to get out of the car. And Fox told detectives, "No one calls me an asshole." He then grabbed her coat as she was attempting to flee the car and pulled it over her head. Fox confessed that he got a knife out of his glove compartment and stabbed Leslie in the back 4 or 5 times. He said he then got a rope out of his trunk just to make sure she was dead and strangled her. He then drove to a drainage ditch and left her body there.
During his confession, Fox mentioned another rural area, and when police searched it, they found Leslie's purse, notebook, a letter she had written, her missing shoe, a button from her dress, and a piece of nylon cord. Forensic analysts examined Fox's car and found blood on the front passenger seat, door, and window, which matched Leslie's blood type. And in Fox's garage, police also found a fillet knife and thin nylon rope that had blood on them. At some point, Fox did ask for an attorney, so the interview was terminated and he was arrested. So Richard Fox's biological father died by drowning before he was even born, and his mother married his stepfather Dale 2.5 years later, and Dale later adopted Fox when he was 12 years old. The couple then went on to have 2 younger daughters together as well. But after Dale adopted Fox, his paternal grandparents refused to have anything to do with him. So Fox studied as a chef at Owens Technical College and for 15 years worked as a cook at 20 different restaurants, which like talk about job hopping. I mean,
That's a lot.
yeah, 20 restaurants in 15 years is quite the really just getting out there. So he married a woman named Kim Swinehart in 1980, and they had a daughter 2 years later. So the couple did separate the year after their daughter was born, but then Kim was found dead of an apparent suicide in her apartment in Oregon. We are going to get into the details because it might be important. So trigger warning for the suicide details if you want to skip forward 30 seconds. So she had slit her wrist, but her arms and head were over the side of the bathtub, and the cause of death was ruled as asphyxiation from neck compression, not blood loss, which seems very interesting to me for a suicide. Like,
Yeah, that is very odd.
which obviously you could like bleed out and lose consciousness and like slump over, but to have enough pressure that the cause of death is being strangled by your neck being in the bathtub versus the blood loss,
'Cause I feel
it
like
just
if
seems
you
kind of
die
off.
I feel like if you die by suicide by like asphyxiation, it's usually like from a noose and not
Mm-hmm.
because then you would pass out and be able to start breathing again if you're
Exactly.
not necessarily like
Yeah.
hanging.
Yeah. Like to me, that sounds more like enough pressure is put on your neck into the bathtub by something else that would lead to
Hmm.
asphyxiation. But that's all the details I could find about that. So after Kim's death, their daughter went to live with Fox, and his mother did help take care of her while he was at work. Fox did become engaged to a woman named Jill at some point, but that relationship ended as well. So a grand jury did indict Richard Fox for kidnapping and aggravated murder with a felony murder death penalty specification alleging kidnapping. So the death penalty is on the table because the murder occurred in the process of a kidnapping. So Fox's attorney petitioned for a change in venue, but it was overruled by the trial court. Fox then waived a jury trial, and the case was tried with a 3-judge panel. So Fox's attorney did not dispute the fact that he killed Leslie, but did dispute the kidnapping charge. So he's basically just trying to get the death penalty off the table, but like will admit to the murder. He
Hmm.
had a few character witnesses testify for him, and his attorney tried to say that he had no prior record, but Richard Fox was still found guilty on all charges. At the sentencing hearing, Fox's mother and adoptive father testified in an attempt to explain Fox's mental state, and many character witnesses described him as normal, kind, honest, and an active member of the community. One of our sources was like the trial transcripts and like literally like 4 pages describing character witnesses describing this man that I'm like, okay, we don't need to get into what
Hmm.
everyone thinks of him, but like many character witnesses saying that he was just this great person.
Yeah.
And many were shocked that he could have committed such horrific crimes. But 2 clinical psychologists and a psychiatrist testified that Fox suffered from narcissistic personality disorder. One said he became more alienated as he grew older and that he struggled with relationships with women. Richard Fox had an IQ of 91, which is at the bottom of the normal range. But a psychologist, Dr. Newton L.P. Jackson, testified that Fox had trouble understanding human relationships and processing ideas and thoughts. Dr. Jackson said he lived within a fantasy that included hostility towards women to shield himself from the truth of his lack of self-worth. He became irritated when women rejected him, especially the rejection from his ex-wife Kim and then ex-fiancee Jill. And Dr. Jackson believed that Fox killed Leslie because she called him an asshole, and therefore he lost control because he wasn't able to like deceive himself any longer. Like he's like tricking himself into thinking he's this great guy, and then she calls
Hmm.
him an asshole, and then he's not able to like pretend to himself anymore, and that's when he loses control, according to this psychologist.
Interesting.
They also said that he suffered from sexual and aggressive impulses. But despite his many character witnesses, Richard Fox was sentenced to death. He appealed several times over the years, but they were all denied. Just 2 weeks before his execution, parole board members said he was still blaming Leslie for her death and changing his story about what happened. His daughter asked Governor Bob Taft to spare her father's life, but Leslie's family said that they would never forgive him and they wanted to see the execution go through, and Taft agreed. Richard Fox refused to make any final remarks, even though he had previously stated that he would apologize to Leslie Keckler's family if given the chance. But when asked if he had any final comments, he just said no. And even though like her family was right there and he had that opportunity, he did not. His last meal was a cheeseburger with lettuce, pickle, onion, tomato, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, and french fries and a Pepsi. And he was executed at 10 a.m. on February 12th, 2003, at 47 years old. He did always maintain innocence in the death of his ex-wife, Kim Swinehart. A lot of people were wondering, like, on his deathbed, like, if he would confess to having something to do with her death. But he did not. He always swore that he was innocent. And that is the horrific and tragic death of Leslie Keckler and the kidnapping and assault of Marla Ritchie.
So I have two immediate thoughts.
Okay.
I'll do the not so serious one first. I'm judging his last meal because how do you have a cheeseburger with all that but no bacon? First off. And also, you choose a Pepsi over a Coke. Like, I'm judging.
Right, yeah.
Besides that, I mean, pretty solid meal. But the other thought I have is, like, when we were kind of discussing, like, how he was, like, trying to plead guilty to the murder, but, like, not the kidnapping to get the death penalty off the table, is how interesting it'll be if the death penalty is completely, like, abolished.
Yeah.
Will they still have that bargaining tool when they want it? You know what I mean? I'm very against the death penalty, obviously, but
yeah, that is interesting.
But yeah. And also, this is, like, obviously a tragic case and stuff. Those were just my thoughts over the last two paragraphs we read.
I also am very angry with the manager who did the application, who like let him see, which obviously like I'm sure he had no idea that's where that was going to go, but like maybe don't share someone's personal information. Maybe he just thought like, oh, he wants to like ask her on a date, so like yeah, I'll let him like get a peek at her phone number. But then he called pretending to be the manager to set up a job interview in which he kidnapped and murdered
I mean,
her.
honestly, I'm sure it happens all the time, like, especially among friends, if they're like, hey, what was her name, like whatever. Like, now today you could just like look her up on social media, but then he was like, oh, that'd be like a really cute story, and like that's how people met probably back then, like stuff like that, just not so tragic. I'm sure it didn't end this tragically every time that happened.
Yeah, just super sad. And there's not a lot of information out there about her. I can't remember. She's been on our list for a while because I heard about her somewhere and added her to the list, but I can't remember where it came up. Because when I looked, I could only find like local Ohio news articles and then the court transcripts. Like I couldn't find any other anyone that's covered this case. So I don't really know where it came up that I heard it.
So if you recommended this case, please write in and we'll talk about it on a later episode.
We try to like note in our document if like someone specific recommended it, but if we missed that and it was you, please let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sorry this one is a little bit shorter because unfortunately there is just very limited information. And, you know, we always like to talk more about the victims when we can, but there's just not a whole lot out there. So that being said, Courtney, what is your perk of the week?
So my perk of the week is that I am officially on vacation. Kind of. I do have to do a few things tomorrow, but those are like optional things that I'm doing just to make my coworkers' life easier, but it'll only take like an hour or two. But officially I'm on vacation and I'm just so excited for a week off because I mean, I've taken a day or two off here, but it's been a while since I've had like a long time off. So I am just really, really excited to take some time, enjoy time with family, relax, kind of regroup from life, basically. So I'm very excited for that. And I hope I'm tipsy from Sunday to Sunday, basically.
I mean, how else would you want to live your vacation, you know?
That's about it. On the beach tipsy is how I want to be.
Tipsy on the beach the entire week. That's all.
Yeah.
That sounds delightful.
Hopefully not burnt. That's just what I want in life. So
yeah, I'm sure you'll get a little burnt, but hopefully you won't get too burnt.
Yeah. if I went to Hawaii for 2 weeks and didn't get burnt, I feel like I can do it. But we'll see. We'll see with
Yeah,
that heat sometimes. But
true, true.
yeah, so that is my perk of the week. Jacqueline, what is your perk of the week?
So my perk of the week. So we recorded, like I said, like 2 nights ago. So last week for you guys, I mentioned that Courtney and I had just finished having dinner together, and then we like came home and started recording the episode. So that was still in the same week. So if you guys are, like, wait a minute, that nope, it's still that same week. But my perk of the week is just that we live in the same city now. So when I'm like, hey, I'm picking up my daughter and I'm like driving sort of by your house on my way home, like, do you want to stop and grab dinner? And we're like, sure. And then we just meet up for dinner so casually.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just been so long since that's been able to happen. So that was just a super nice moment of, just one of those random little last minute, like, just gonna meet up for dinner. And
you've had a full week of realizing why you moved back to Knoxville.
yes,
basically.
I really have. I really have. We've had a lot of those little moments this week that have been really nice. So yeah, that was my perk of the week. And
yeah, it's nice because we used to have to like plan in advance, when I was coming, like it used to be,
yes,
I'd be coming to see you and you'd go to work and I'd sit on your couch and watch whatever. And then we'd eat dinner together. And
can
the
we
days before I had a full-time job.
Yes. Can we just reminisce on those days where you would come visit me every summer when we lived in the first little apartment that we moved into after we got married, and we would wake up. Sometimes you were awake when I left for work. Sometimes you were still sleeping. So we might have breakfast together or you might sleep in. And then I would go to work and then I come home on my lunch break and we'd have lunch together. And then I go back to work and then you'd unload my dishwasher and play with my animals and read your book and watch some TV. And then I get off work and then we go down to the pool and we'd hang out there. And, just those were the days.
I'd sometimes walk Luna to come see you at work.
Yes. And then she would get mad at you because she thought you didn't know the way home and she was trying to show you the way home. And you're like, no, we're going to work.
No, I promise I know what I'm doing, girl. Girl, I know what I'm doing.
She's like, hey, Courtney, you really confused. I'm gonna try to help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And go get some frozen yogurt. We would always do that.
Oh my gosh. I miss frozen yogurt. There's like no frozen yogurt places like left.
It was like this huge boom for like 6 years and then it just went away. And it's really sad.
And like, I don't know if it's because people were like, oh, it's healthy. I never ate it because I thought it was healthy. I just ate it because I thought it tasted better than ice cream.
Because it's a delicious treat and you can get all kinds of fun
I would
toppings.
put so much shit on top of that. There's no way it's healthy. But I don't know. It is crazy. It was like they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they just poof, disappeared. But
yeah. Now I really want some frozen yogurt. Okay, we finish recording. We meet up at the closest.
We drive 2 hours to the closest frozen yogurt place.
We get some froyo, then we record in the car there. It'll be great. It'll be fine.
Perfect.
We'll make it work. Yeah. So we had a lot of things that we apparently need you guys to tell us about in this episode. But as always, let us know your thoughts on this case. If you guys have more information on this case from somewhere, please let us know. We would love to share it. Let us know if you brush your teeth in the shower. Why is it called a reservation for both the Native American land and also to secure a spot somewhere?
Is it because the Native American reservation cannot be moved or touched, and neither can, but that's kind of fucked. If you really think about it, that white people just come in and be like, oh, your land can't be moved, my table can't be moved at the restaurant.
Okay, we could have ended this whole conversation with a quick Google search. Okay. So from the United States Department of Agriculture, the term reservation comes from the early days of Indian contact, which would be Native American contact. I don't know why it still says that on, I guess because they're talking about at that time. I don't know. Native American contact with the white people. Native Americans gave up a large portion of their land through treaties, reserving a portion of the land for their own use.
Oh,
so basically, because they were forced to give up so much of their land, they reserved these small parcels of their land that they have. Yeah. That's why.
Still kind of weird if you think about it. All the girlies getting their brunch reservations, and it's also, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just kind of weird. Like, I get it. It makes sense, but it's also kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, we have lots of words that mean two different things that You know, I can't think
Yeah.
of it off the top of my head, but I know they're out there. Anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts on all these things if you just think we're a bunch of dumbasses and you've already typed out your
Mm-hmm.
email from the beginning of the episode, but we got to the
Mm-hmm.
answer at the end. So, you can just
Mm-hmm.
backspace and delete that. Um, I don't even remember what else we already talked about at the beginning. But yeah, you guys know where to find us. Our information is in the show notes. We are on patreon.com/caffeinated crimes, where we just had a new bonus episode come out like 2 weeks ago. So this is bonus 34, I believe,
That
or
was
35.
34, I think.
34. All about Hart Island and Blackwell's Island in New York City. If you guys want to know about the dark history of those islands and how they are similar to and different from Rikers Island, which we've also covered in a regular episode, you can check that out along with all of our other Patreon goodies, pins, stickers. You can chat with us on Discord. We do videos. Sometimes we need to get back to that, but we do have some videos on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If you join, we'll start doing them again because nobody was watching them. But if you join and want to
exactly.
watch an unedited video podcast, you can do so on
Yeah.
patreon.com/caffeinated crimes. If you don't feel like doing that, you could give us 5 stars on Apple or Spotify. That's completely free and makes our day. Leave us a nice review. But yeah, in the meantime, go have a cup of coffee.
And don't commit a crime.